In 2021, a storm was brewing after the doping ban of American sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson and her missing the Tokyo Olympic Games, with certain stakeholders calling for the World Anti-Doping Agency to remove marijuana from the banned list of substances. Those calls have been rejected. But before we get into the details, if you're new around here, hit the subscription button and welcome to the Sports DTM family. Now, marijuana, aka weed or cannabis, use will remain banned at sports events after the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, rejected calls to change its status on the list of prohibited substances. The decision was made at an executive committee EXCO meeting on Friday, September 23, 2022 in Sydney, Australia. In 2021, a storm was brewing and the agency was asked to review the status of THC, the psychoactive ingredient in cannabis, after the case of United States sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson. Richardson missed the Tokyo Olympic Games in 2021 and served a 1-month ban after testing positive at the national trials, where she won the 100 meters. The sprinter had said she smoked marijuana as a way of coping with her mother's death. The calls to remove marijuana from the ban list have now been rejected by WADA. In a separate decision, the opiate tramadol will now be banned when athletes are competing starting in January 2024, and the WADA Executive Committee indicated that this will give time for stakeholder education leading into 2024. But of course, back to the marijuana case. World Athletics and WADA came under intense pressure in 2021 from stakeholder groups, and at the Olympics, World Athletics President Sebastian Coe, when being asked about the rules surrounding marijuana, was quoted as saying, "It should be. It is sensible, as nothing is set in tablets of stone." To put it further, in a July 9, 2021 letter to Congressman Jamie Ranskin and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, USADA President Travis Stigart said it had advocated more flexible, that's the USADA had advocated more flexible and fair rules to address the use of marijuana by athletes. As pressure mounted, on September 14, 2021, WADA announced a review of the status of cannabis on the prohibited list to be initiated while remaining prohibited in 2022. And the statement read, "In addition, following receipt of requests from a number of stakeholders, the EXCO endorsed the decision of the List Expert Advisory Group to initiate in 2022 a scientific review of the status of cannabis. Cannabis is currently prohibited in competition and will continue to be in 2022. Note the language used." However, on Friday, WADA put out a statement which reads as follows: "As it relates to cannabis THC, the EXCO endorsed the List Expert Advisory Group recommendation that the status of THC on the list should remain unchanged. In September 2021, following requests from a small number of stakeholders, so now we know that the language has now changed from a number of stakeholders to a small number of stakeholders in 2022, and our pressure can change how we see things. We continue. The EXCO agreed to initiate a review of the list of the status of cannabis. Since then, the LIEAG, which is composed of independent experts in the medical field such as the pharmacology, forensic toxicology, substances of abuse, analytic science, pharmacy, sports medicine, chemistry, endocrinology, internal medicine, regulatory affairs, peptides and growth factors, and rheumatology from 9 countries around the world embarked on a full and thorough review of the status in sport of THC, the main psychotic component of cannabis. So WADA called upon a long list of experts from 9 countries around the world. The review focused on the 3 criteria set forth by the code for inclusion of any substance or method of the list, namely 1. It has the potential to enhance sport performance. It represents a health risk to the athlete. And 3. It violates the spirit of the sport as defined by the code. Under the code, a substance or method must meet at least 2 of these 3 criteria to be considered for inclusion in the list. With respect to the spirit of the sport criterion, the LIEAG consulted with WADA's Ethics Expert Advisory Group, which continues to consider cannabis use at this time to be against the spirit of sport across a range of areas as listed in the code. But interestingly, WADA also stated the following: THC is prohibited in competition only, and only when the urinary concentration exceeds a threshold of 150 milliliters. This threshold was increased in 2013 from 15 milliliters. As such, the high level of cannabis required to trigger an adverse analytics finding in competition today would be consistent with a significantly impaired athlete or a frequent user. This is very interesting. So what they're saying to us that you have to reach a certain threshold to be able to trigger such an adverse analytic finding. WADA's Director General Oliver Nigley is quoted as saying, "The question of how THC should be dealt with in sporting context is not straightforward. WADA is aware of a diversity of opinions and perceptions related to the substance around the world and even within certain countries. We are also conscious that the laws of many countries, as well as broad international regulatory laws and policies, support maintaining cannabis on the list at this time. WADA plans to continue research in the area in relation to THC's potential performance enhancing effects, its impact on the health of athletes, and also in relation to the perceptions of cannabis from athletes, experts, and others around the world. But as it stands now, the storm has been diverted, and WADA has rejected the calls from a number of stakeholders or a small number of stakeholders to remove cannabis from the list of banned substance. Fans out there, what are your thoughts on WADA refusing to remove cannabis from the anti-doping ban list? What are your thoughts on cannabis as a performance enhancer? What are your thoughts on cannabis as a health risk to athletes? Does cannabis or weed or marijuana violate the spirit of the sport? Leave all those comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell all of their friends to come and join the Sports DTM family. This has been another episode of Sports Down the Middle. Be blessed.